I grew up in a home that God wasn't really spoken about, and I was kind of left to make my own decision as to life and how we got here and how we're supposed to live. And at a pretty young age, I decided that there couldn't be a God. I call myself an atheist, but looking back, I was more of a God hater. I didn't really understand God. I didn't know who God was and what His plans are for us and what He had done for us. And I went through quite a few number of years, very young, just not liking the idea of God. And the big change in my life came in when I moved schools, and I changed schools into a new high school. And there was a group of kids that went to the local church around the corner from the school, and one of the kids there just kept on inviting me to church every Friday for about 3 or 4 months. And he was so persistent, even though every single time I said no. At one stage, I even think I swore at him and I told him to leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with your God. I've made up my mind. God can't exist. And eventually, I think after like 3 or 4, even 5 months, I just said, you know what, I'll come to one of your stupid Friday night evenings and I'll just see what you're about, to just leave so you can leave me alone, type of thing. And it was funny, I remember that night clear as day. It was, the pastor was tackling the purity issue about sex before marriage. I remember the praise and worship band, like it was yesterday, and it was pretty cool. And people were nice. They accepted me, and I moved on for the week. And Friday came the next week, and my acquaintance said, Russell, why don't you come back again this Friday night? And I was like, yeah, and I'd rather not. But then he invited me, then he said, fine, come over on the Sunday. Sunday's pretty special. So then I went on the Sunday night, and that was when God hit me like a brick wall. And I don't know what it was. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know what was going on. But the youth pastor who was speaking at the time, Quinton Smith, was just laying down the gospel. He was just telling the congregation on how Jesus has died for our sins, and there is a God who loves us. All the wrong things that I thought that God was in that one sermon, Quinton literally just blew that all out of my mind. And afterwards, while the praise and worship band was playing, just something hit me, and I just knew that God was real. It was, I can't describe it. I can't put it into words. It was just a feeling that's so undeniable that there is a God out there that loves us, and He did send His Son to die for us. And that night I must have spent maybe an extra 2 hours over closing time from that Sunday night service, just talking to Quinton and my friends that had initially invited me to church. And that really changed my life. But that wasn't it. I mean, I'd fallen into place with the church and started going there for about 6, 7, 8 months, and that's when worldliness started hitting me. And that's where I started picking up a whole bunch of habits that I shouldn't have picked up. I was drinking underage, smoking things I shouldn't be smoking. I was using foul language. I was even more disrespectful to my parents, even though I was proclaiming the name of Christ. And that went on for a good, at least a year and a half, until I was bordering into my matric year in 2008. And I can't explain what happened. I was at church again on a Sunday, and the youth pastor came up to me, very lovingly said to me, Russell, I know what you do on Friday nights after youth. I know that you go out with friends that you shouldn't be going out with, and it's not good. You're coming here every Sunday, Friday night, proclaiming the love of Christ, and your life is you're living something completely opposite. And that's when it hit me that it's not only about us abusing God's grace and us thinking that we can do whatever we want because, oh no, Jesus died for us, so we can we can live our lives however we want to. God does have a standard for us, and that's something that I missed completely, and it was out of my own arrogance and my own ignorance that I just didn't want to accept the responsibility and the standard that God has set out for us. And it just hit me so hard when my youth pastor said to me, "Russell, you need to work on yourself, and I'm here for you." And if it wasn't for him and a group of friends at that church, Gateway Church in Glen Marais, Kempton Park, I don't think I'd be where I am today. And ever since I've really made the commitment to God to start living my life and really trying and working in accordance to His will and following His word, God's work has just been so amazing in my life. I can't deny how awesome it's been. I've been involved in the local metal scene here in South Africa for quite a number of years, and it's not just about going there and me having a good time and watching bands and playing shows. It's been more about reaching out to kids and being an example, being a godly example for them, because just like me, those kids don't really have the right perception of God. They don't have someone, most of them don't have someone in their life that they can look up to and say, "Wow, that's a godly man," or "That's what God is about." And I feel like God's put me there for a reason, and really working through it, like in the metal scene here in South Africa. And over and above that, God's just been so great and blessing me with an awesome wife, and we've been married for 3 years now. Last year we had our baby boy, and God's love has just been amazing. And as a new father and as a husband, God is the best example of love that we can have in our lives. And I can't explain and put it into words how much God has changed my life. And if you're watching this and you're doubting God and you're in a bad place, I just want to tell you to cry out to Him. Get on your knees, do what you have to get right with God, and be there so that you can live up to the standard that He wants us to live and be in accordance to His will. I'm Russell Wells, this is my talent and this is my testimony.